What's the biggest death that Johnny Depp has witnessed live? Armie Hammer's career on the set of Lone Ranger, or River Phoenix in the Viper Room? Ned Ryerson? Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast. This is episode 70, and we're just a bunch of bros drinking beer, actually in my case champagne tonight, and talking movies. And I don't mean the champagne of beers, which of course is Brian Banner's lawn mowing beer and Miller High Life. I mean actual champagne. I am your host, the Mayor Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. Before we get started, let's go around and meet my fellow bros. As always, we go into the lab first. To the mad scientist, Brian Banner, the aforementioned. Banner, I have a bunch of spare electronic parts in my garage and enough beer for us to really do some damage. So the question is, do you have any idea how to build a jetpack?
No. I'll go get my blueprints.
So you're still coming over, though, right? Because the beer is still there.
I mean, you had me at jetpack.
Do you care what kind of beer it is?
To be honest, like, do you want my honest answer or like the unofficial answer?
Unofficial answer, I guess.
No, I don't really care.
Okay. That sounded a lot like your honest answer also.
Yeah. They're one and the same. I was just curious which one you were wanting.
They're the same, but I can phrase it any way you want. And next, we go into the paint to our enforcer, Matt Geiger. Matt, I noticed you have one of those house arrest ankle bracelets on. What happened this past weekend?
Man, I would love to tell you this full story. However, our legal counsel, Ronnie Cycli, has begged me to just not say anything and keep it in court. But since he's not here, is he part of the pod anymore? I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, you go to Thailand for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think he's in Thailand with a ladyboy right now.
Who said he's allowed to take vacations? Am I right?
I know. I haven't heard from him in a while, so I'll keep you updated if he'll let me speak on it or not, or if he's even still part of the podcast.
But you're still not going to tell us how you got the house arrest thing on your ankle?
No, I trust his decision.
If anything, if Shia LaBeouf's performance in Disturbia taught us anything about house arrest ankle bracelets, you're going to meet a really hot neighbor chick and a kind of annoying Asian friend, and you're going to have some wacky adventures with that thing.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing is pretty much spying on my neighbors, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
I actually have that movie on DVD.
We should do a commentary on that. I actually love that movie.
I love that. I like Rear Window, the Alfred Hitchcock movie, too.
As do I. All right, well, if you guys have not listened to our show before, or even if you have, you know that we start every episode off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chess day. So with the NCAA's March Madness tournament reaching their Final Four, we have a tournament of our own going on. And as is tradition for the Bro 4 Squad, every March we do a movie madness tournament, pitting some of our favorite movies against each other, always with a theme. 2 years ago, we did a 64 movie comic book movie madness tournament, which was absolutely never again that many movies for sure. It was insane. Go back and check it out on our YouTube channel. It was pretty intense, and we pitted 64 comic book movies together to see which would prevail. Last year, we did a much more tame Star Wars movie madness with 8 films, and this year it is a Pixar versus the world movie madness, where we put 8 of the top Pixar movies ever on one side and the best animated movies from the remaining studios on the other to compete and see who is the best. And as of today, we're down to the final 4 movies, or I guess the final 5. We'll determine that here tonight. But before we reveal who that is, Banner, why don't you let the folks know the results of our matchups this past week and tell the people listening how they can affect the outcome.
All right, everybody. So we're posting all of our matchups on the Twitters. So you can go on there at Bro4 Squad and vote for your favorite animated movie. When voting, just remember our 5 criteria. We grade every movie on acting, cast, story, plot, best scene, and rewatchability. So keep that in mind when voting for these, because I promise you it will maybe change your mind, but maybe not. I don't know. So we got through round 2 this past week. We had Despicable Me versus Kung Fu Panda. Can't say I'm surprised here. Thought it would have been a little.
Actually.
I thought it would have been
surprised.
a little bit closer. I think the correct movie won here, but Despicable Me lost to Kung Fu Panda, 18-33.
Mm-hmm. Can I say one thing real quick? I don't think there's this big group of people out there who fucking love Despicable Me like we think. Like, Despicable Me barely beat Madagascar by 5 votes, and then it gets slaughtered by Kung Fu Panda, which people like Kung Fu Panda, but I don't think it's beloved. Like, where are these Despicable Me fans? I think the Minions have just overstayed their welcome, if I'm being honest.
If you put a Minions movie up against a Despicable Me movie, the Minions movie is going to win.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the world we live in.
People might just be fed up with this. You know, like, I love chicken nuggets, but make me eat 36 of them, and fuck, no, actually, I could eat 36.
I don't know, man. Chicken McNuggets sound pretty good. Right?
Yeah,
I'll get a better analogy.
Can we actually pause the pod for a while?
Yeah, it's paused. We're going to Wendy's separately. Meet back in 10 minutes.
Okay. Next matchup: Shrek versus Chicken Run. Guys, I'm sad about this one. I'm not surprised. Shrek absolutely destroyed Chicken Run, 52-15. But we need to talk about Chicken Run because it is a great movie. It's a great movie.
It is. Geiger, is Shrek coached by Rick Pitino? Because they definitely made sure to cover the spread here against Chicken Run.
I don't know. I think Rick Pitino was caught like fucking an ogre in some restaurant and then making her get an abortion. So I think he was like kicked out of the swamp.
Couldn't prove anything.
For at least 2 years anyway. He's got to play.
Lord Farquaad came in. He's like, "Hey, let's not even try like a really heartwarming story. You just have to get the fuck out, dude. Yeah. I can't. It's too much heat on me.
Just let it die down."
But yeah, you're right, Banner. Chicken Run, super underrated.
It obviously doesn't have cast. It probably doesn't have rewatchability.
It's Mel Gibson and then a bunch of British actors who we're just probably not as familiar with.
Exactly. But I think story, it could probably go toe-to-toe with any movie in this fucking tournament.
It's a really creative and fun story. Yeah. Like, the idea of it is pretty badass.
All right. And then the last matchup in round 2 that has been scored, Toy Story versus Toy Story 3.
Civil War.
Yeah, in-state rivalry here. Little closer than I thought it would be. Toy Story obviously coming out on top, 89-65. But I'm surprised that 65% of people thought that Toy Story 3 was better than the original, which is just fucking shocking to me.
No surprise here that this one got the most votes of any of them. I don't know, man. I do love the original Toy Story. I think if you're talking about like an emotion, what got the most out of me, it would probably be Toy Story 3. But yeah, I think the fans got it right on all 3 of these.
I would agree. So that's all I have to say. Even though show notes say, and whatever the fuck Banner wants to talk about, I don't have anything.
Yeah, I'm like the coach of like Russell Westbrook. Like, I want to give you freedom, but also at the same time, like,
you need structure.
Yeah, don't embarrass me out here.
You just need to like point me in the right direction,
so I know what to ignore.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Banner. Again, guys, at Bro4Squad is our Twitter handle. Excuse me.
Twiddle.
Vote twiddle, just, like a little child.
Just twiddle. Just twiddle yourself.
That's inappropriate. So please vote on all these matchups. Definitely tweet at us. We're going to read for the final 4 coming up. All the comments, we get all the good ones, and we appreciate you guys voting with us. But now we have our live matchup of the night to complete the second round and let us know who the last movie entering the final 4 will be. So he's the best at it. He's basically our version of Michael Buffer. Geiger, why don't you tell the people how we grade our films and the matchup that we are doing tonight in live scoring?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. As Banner said, 3 tickets have been punched to the final 4 and 1 remain. And it is Incredibles, the original, versus Monsters, Inc. Movies ready.
What?
On our 5 criteria.
Let's go.
Starting with acting and cast. Incredibles versus Monsters, Inc. Jeff.
All right, so again, I was telling Banner before we jumped on the pod, all of these were actually all these points, this does not mean it was a blowout, but everyone was fairly easy for me to give out. I think I had a very definitive winner. And I have to go with Monsters, Inc. simply because I think the ancillary casts are both so strong, they kind of even out. So I was like, all right, who is the standout, the one actor and voice cast in all of these? And it's Billy Crystal as Mike Wazowski. He's the best one performer out of these two movies, I think, as strong as they both are. So I'll go Monsters, Inc. for acting cast. It sticks with me the most, him as Mike, the one-eyed comedian.
Banner?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I think it's got to be Monsters Inc. here, although not for the same reason. Goodman and Billy Crystal are great, but it's the fuck is his name? I can picture Randall. Absolutely fucking
Buscemi.
Great. Buscemi, thank you. As a role player, that's what you need. I think that you have your ones and your twos are all pretty much even across the board between both these movies, but you got your role players. Buscemi absolutely steals the show in this as Randall. I think you got to give it to Monsters, Inc. 2-0.
I'm going to go Monsters, Inc. as well. It's the NBA, man. Your bench has to be deep, but you have to have 2 stars. And with Goodman and Crystal, I'm just going to give it to Monsters, Inc.
Damn,
I like Craig T. Nelson, but there's after that, he just has role players. I don't think anyone else really steps up. I know, was it Mrs. Elastic or Mrs.
Holly
Fantastic?
Hunter, yeah.
Yeah, she's great, but not as good as, I mean, Billy Crystal kills it in this.
The thing with Holly Hunter, she's a great actress, but maybe this argument works against myself, but that's her, for me, her quintessential role. So it's like, if you're best known for that, it's hard for me to look back and be like, damn, they got that person to play Miss Elastic. I don't know. I don't mean to shit on anyone in this because they're both
Guys,
great.
It's Elastigirl, not Ms. Elastic.
Yeah, whatever.
It's Elastigirl. So that right there in yourself tells you guys that,
we're sexist.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it.
3-0 Monsters, Inc. Going into story, I'll make it 4-0 Monsters, Inc. Incredibles is a cool story, but dude, I mean, let's get it straight. It's a superhero story. A bunch of different adaptations for superhero stories, but as a comic book fan, I'll have to say a lot of them are basically the same. Monsters, Inc. is extremely creative and original. Not even a movie I particularly like, but for originality, it's got to get the point over Incredibles, which is a movie I really do like. So 4-0 Monsters, Inc. Story, Jeff.
Yeah, same thing, man. I love the story of The Incredibles, but it was basically a better telling of the Fantastic Four. So it's a compliment to the movie, but it didn't have that originality that I was like, damn, I've never seen this before. I mean, they did something very unique with it in focusing on like kids and the parent aspect of the family, as opposed to the Fantastic Four, where it's Johnny and Sue, and then the marriage to Mr. Fantastic and Richards. But Monsters, Inc. is just so fucking original, dude. The monsters scaring kids to capture their fear and use it. I mean, that's like what Pixar is known for, right? Is coming up with an idea that as a kid you're like, damn, that's real, and believing it, and parents thinking like, oh, that's hilarious. So I just have to go story for that point alone to Monsters, Inc.
Banner.
This is turning into a first half bloodbath. You got to go Monsters, Inc. for everything you guys just said.
They're hitting everything.
It
right
is. Now. They're not going to shoot 80%.
I want to wake up Incredible and tell them the game started.
Yeah. It's just such an incredibly unique story in, like you said, taking an aspect that generally scares kids and is, I mean, from the beginning of time, been an issue with kids going to bed in there's monsters in the bed, there's a monster in my closet, versus, like you said, a adaptation of the Fantastic Four, which I will say as well, in 2005 when Incredibles came out, it was ahead of its time as far as the superhero genre stories coming out. MCU wasn't a thing yet. At least a movie hasn't come out. It was in infancy stages as far as the production and ideas and everything, development of it. I know we had The Dark Knight or Batman Begins or whatever, but it was really ahead of its time. And again, it is unique in the fact that you've got kids involved, but not as unique as having an entire world of monsters that have to survive on Scream.
And don't get me wrong, The Incredibles is better than any Fantastic Four adaptation. I just think the creativity and inventiveness that Monsters, Inc. showed has to be rewarded here.
6-0 Monsters, Inc. Incredibles is going to have to sweep a couple of these next ones. Best scene. What do you got, Banner?
I am actually going to go with Incredibles here. I'm pretty sure we may have live scored this earlier, or maybe we talked about it off pod, but the opening scene in Incredibles when they're going through kind of where all the superheroes are and kind of painting that picture of where we're at in superhero life versus society, and the people are starting to sue the superheroes, and you have it kind of culminates with Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl getting married, and like, hey, shit's gonna change here. That they started a story, and they started the movie and set a tone. This is what this movie is about, and I thought that was, they set the stage, and I enjoy that. And you have to give respect to a movie that goes out on a limb and says this is where we're at. I've made this comparison before. It's very similar to Watchmen with the Bob Dylan song.
Jeff?
Yeah, good point, Banner. I think as we've gone through this, excuse me, this tournament, we've realized Pixar has some really strong opening scenes. Like, they tend to put their best foot forward. And as I was going through these, I'm dying, by the way, if you can't tell by my choking. Fine. So
suck it up.
I went through my 3 favorite scenes between these 2 movies, and they were all in The Incredibles. So that's why I say some of these points were pretty easy to give out. I'll just make mine real simple and give it to Matt. The fight with the Omni droid was just fucking awesome. And seeing it was crazy because it was an action set piece, but I wasn't thinking, oh man, this would look so cool with in live action. I was just thinking, this is awesome. The Omni fight droid. The fight against the Omni droid was badass. Matt?
Yeah, another sweep, but this sweep goes to Incredibles for best scene. The Edna Mode, whenever the mom comes in, and to make me laugh on a kiddie movie takes a lot. And first off, just what she has to do just to get in her own system is fucking hilarious,
right?
And then when she's showing the mom who has no clue that her husband has gone back to work, and basically like, oh yeah, I got all these costumes for your kids too, and she's like, why would Jack be in a fucking fire? It makes me laugh every time I see it, and for that to happen in a movie that is pretty much designed for 6-year-olds makes it pretty funny. So 6-3, Monsters Inc. still winning. Impacts on pop culture. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't know if anything will beat Incredibles for me for impacts on pop culture, just because of all the merch they did for the Incredibles eye on the shirt. I'm going to give it to Incredibles, of course, over Monsters Inc. 4-6, Monsters Inc. still winning. Impacts on pop culture, Jeff.
Yeah, so those 2 timeouts the Incredibles called early on have fucking worked, because we're going Incredibles again right here. And again, this point is not even really close. The Incredibles, I think, changed the game. For not only Pixar, but like Brian has said before, it really came out at a time before superhero movies were not even their own genre, but were kind of like a joke, right? We're on the heels of 2 bad Batman movies. I think Fantastic Four came out that year, but
X-Men.
Okay, the X-Men franchise was riding high. That's a good point.
I believe the first Fantastic Four came out, and I want to say Rise of the Silver Surfer had already come out as well.
Spider-Man was out.
Yeah, Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man 3 was about to be made, though, which was, again, the downfall of it. So this movie was
Green Lantern was right around that time.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Someone unplug Banner's mic.
My point is made. Blade Trinity was probably about to grace screens. But like Geiger said, I mean, you can't emphasize enough that eye is iconic. And I don't think Geiger's wrong when he says it's probably more recognizable now than the spider is on people's chests, which is fucking insane if you just think about how long those 2 characters have been around. But it's true. And so impacts on pop culture, I mean, this category should be a bloodbath because it's Incredibles for me.
Banner.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say. You guys said it all, but I'll say more. Monsters Inc., as far as like an impact, it doesn't tip the needle. It's just a good movie. Whereas The Incredibles actually did something. You've got... I judge a lot of movies on your sequel, if you get a sequel. Both of these movies got sequels with quite a bit of time in between them. The Incredibles, it was more than a decade. It was almost 15 years. Incredibles was probably about a decade, if I had to guess. Maybe a little more. The Incredibles 2 was amazing, and I wanted it the second I left the theater. Monsters, Inc., I did not want a sequel at all. Like, I could care less. But then I guess it was a prequel, which was fine. It didn't make the tournament, rightfully so. But that right there shows you, like, hey, I wanted another movie of this because it made such an impact on me.
So Monsters, Inc. up 6-0. Then Incredibles sweeps best scene and impacts. It's 6-6. Tie ball game going into rewatchability. I'll go ahead because I already tipped my hand on this a couple ones ago, but Incredibles is just a way better movie for me. I'll watch it way more than Monsters Inc. Just, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a way better movie, period. I think all the way around was, even the story was original Monsters Inc., but I'd just rather watch Incredibles more and more throughout the year. So 7-6 Incredibles, Jeff.
Yeah, same. And I think Incredibles gets my point here for a couple of reasons. Number one, Monsters Inc. is heavily reliant on the laughs, which is not a problem. But when you know the jokes are coming, of course, they're not as funny. And I just love superhero movies, as we all know in general. And The Incredibles is a near flawless adaptation of one. So, yeah, naturally, I'm going to want to go back and watch that more. And I think that's the one nice thing about rewatchability and matchups like this is you can just give a point to the better fucking movie. And for me, that's Incredibles, right? I don't dislike Monsters Inc., but I mean, this is Incredibles we're talking about. Like, as Allen Iverson would say, we're not even talking about the game, the actual game. Like, this is Incredibles. It's more rewatchable for me than Monsters Inc.
Banner?
Yeah, Jeff, you said at the top of the show, it's not really hard in any of these categories. It's another sweep. Incredibles coming in from the end. I watch Incredibles probably once every 6 months. I did recently go back and watch Monsters, Inc. Within the last month. It is a fantastic movie. It's not, this decision or this point is not an indictment on Monsters, Inc. It's fantastic. And you guys, if you haven't watched it recently, go back and watch it. It's a great movie. Personally, I watch Incredibles once every 6 months or so. Because it's just a fun movie.
And if you're at home, I think this is part of like where we are as people. Like, Banner, when your daughter is a little bit older, maybe then Monsters Inc. is something she'll want to go back and revisit a ton. But for me right now, like, I enjoy both these movies, but if you put two DVDs in front of me and gave me a choice, I mean, it's Incredibles 10 out of 10 times.
Yep.
So there you go. The number 4 seed overall, Incredibles, beats Monsters Inc. 9-6. They're moving on to the Final Four to face the number 1 overall seed Toy Story, and the other game we'll have is the number 2 overall seed Shrek going up against the 6 overall seed Kung Fu Panda.
Woo!
As your Final Four.
Dude, Shrek better watch the fuck out. I'm just saying.
What about Incredibles versus Toy Story, man? That'll be it.
I don't want to talk about it because I don't know that I have the emotions to talk about it.
So maybe what we should do is let the fans decide both these matchups, but I'm sure we all still want to chime in on them on Twitter. Or excuse me, on the show.
Absolutely.
Next week. So because this is the Final Four, guys. I mean, shit. This matters. We need to know which movies' banners are going to be taken down in a few years because they faked someone's SAT, like Woody's SAT score was faked. He had an Asian
at the table and shit.
Buzz Lightyear's a 13-year-old Asian girl. That's weird. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you to everyone.
Jack has an agent.
Yeah. I don't doubt it, dude. I saw dumbbells in his room. He's definitely fucking ready to go. All right, so check everything out on our Twitter at Bro4Squad in the next couple days or the next week as we try to decide who is going to the finals of the Pixar vs. the World Movie Madness tournament. All right, the next part of our show is our protein shake.
Brah? Oh, sorry.
No, you're
sorry.
False start.
My bad.
Early.
Hey, we do everything.
It's fine.
We do everything early on this show, am I right? Sex joke.
Sex and stuff.
Sexual intercourse. Our protein shake is the second part of our show where we go around and
premature ejaculation. I see what you're saying.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Nailed it. Joke's still working though, so if we need to, we'll go back to the well. It's not dried up. Anyway, our protein shake is where we go around and we talk about what is in our cup, aka what have we watched lately. Now, Geiger, I've watched for sure 2 things that you've watched the past week. So if you want, why don't we let Banner go first, and then you and I can do mini reviews on at least 2 of ours, and then I can turn you loose. How's that sound?
Cool.
All right, Banner. I think you have 30 minutes allotted. Is that going to be enough to get through?
I'll cut a few things out, but yeah, I'll make it work.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Again, as you guys know, Endgame obviously is coming out later this month. Hopefully, you guys weren't a victim of Cinemark or AMC's websites crashing, and you got your tickets.
Fandango or IMDb or Atom tickets or
literally anything. I fortunately got my tickets for it, so I'm ready to go. But as you guys know, anytime a big movie like this comes out, I watch everything beginning to end. So going along that saga, since our last show, have watched Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Civil War, Doctor Strange, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, just
shit.
for the MCU movies. And I was talking to Geiger about this off pod. This kind of run of the movies, I don't know. They're all good movies, even the bad ones. When we talk about like Thor: The Dark World, it's a really bad MCU movie, but it's still not that bad of a movie. Sure, Natalie Portman's performance is ungodly bad, but it's still an all right movie. Winter Soldier, absolutely fantastic, but I already talked about that one. Age of Ultron fucking sucks, guys.
No, man.
I don't like Age of Ultron.
That one has grown on me, while others I've liked less.
Ant-Man is one of the ones that I've liked less. Civil War is pretty fucking good, guys.
I think Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, Civil War is a good movie.
Than Ant-Man.
Doctor Strange.
How was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Check out our movie commentary on that. I feel like that's one I would not like on a rewatch.
Not very good.
Yeah, it was okay on a rewatch. I put it kind of in the same boat as Doctor Strange. The movie itself and the story, like, it's fine. The visuals are absolutely incredible in both of those. More specifically, Doctor Strange, but even Guardians 2, really fucking good visuals. I think Chris Pratt's performance was not as strong because he's more of a star in this one than he was in the first one, but it still was fine. Doctor Strange, absolutely insane visual effects.
I'll say this. Doctor Strange was on TNT like 2 weeks ago, and I think outside of Tony Stark, Stephen Strange is one of the most fun and interesting characters, like, before he gets his powers. I could watch a movie just on him as like a cocky neurosurgeon fucking every nurse in the hospital and like not giving a shit about anyone else. I was almost like, when he goes to Carmartage, I was almost like, oh, but you're so cool.
Yeah, I would watch like a 13 episode like show on Doctor Strange as a neurosurgeon, because it would almost be like a House, like the show House.
Yeah, and like the way he talks to Rachel McAdams, and I'm like, oh, but you'll be back.
Yeah,
and she does come back.
He's that kind of guy. Obviously, I'm not that guy, but where you could be just a complete douchebag asshole to a chick, and she's like, yeah, so like I hate you, but I'll still suck your dick.
When he pulls the bullet out of the dude's spine in the beginning, and they're like, oh my God, no one's ever pulled off that surgery before. And he goes, you would have killed him, and walks out. I'm like, don't even shake the other team's fucking hand. You just like leave the room.
Jesus Christ.
All right. I got one more movie that I watched this week, guys. So we do a family movie night, me and my daughter and my wife. So obviously it has to be an age appropriate movie. This is a Netflix original. It's called Gnome Alone. It's cute, guys. It's fine. Basically,
do you have? Sorry, real quick interjection. I know there's like a kids Netflix. Do you just log into that one? Because I don't even think that would. The shit that I watch, Geiger and I especially. There's no way Netflix would ever recommend that to us.
Definitely have to log into the kids profile for that one. It's fine. I could tell you zero about the cast. I don't really have a best scene. The plot is fine. Basically, girl moves to a new town into like a creepy house.
Girl or gnome?
Girl. Gnomes live there, and they're protecting this crystal that keeps these monsters away. But then she finds the crystal and gives it to a friend or to some chick at school to try and be cool. And monsters try and take over. They have to get the crystal back and kill the monsters.
I'm already thinking about what I'm doing this weekend, like halfway through you explaining.
So is at any point in the movie is a gnome by itself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's like a whole army of gnomes.
So how is a gnome alone in it? Or is that just their play on words? Like there's
I think
not
it's
actually
just their play on words.
Okay, so at no point is a gnome actually isolated from other gnomes.
Well, technically yes, there is, but if I explained it, I would spoil the whole movie, and I know both of you guys are going to be watching that this weekend.
God, if we spoiled Gnome Alone, the fucking unsubscribe button would be beat to death on this podcast.
Never come back from that.
Yeah.
No, that'd be a fucking devastating blow.
No, it's cute. Sure, check it out.
And so all you watched was Phase 2 of the MCU and Gnome Alone.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a light week. Oh, also real quick, since we were talking about it, we all know I love books on this pod. I've been reading a new book. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. It's called Kenobi, And it is about Obi-Wan Kenobi when he goes to Tatooine and how he's starting to adapt to life on Tatooine, still trying to watch over Luke, but still kind of be a part of society, but not be a part of the community. And it's about his struggles in adapting to that. Really good. Can't remember the author's name, but it's called Kenobi. You can get it at your local library or whatever.
We'll link it below.
Yeah, definitely. It is by John Jackson Miller. Doesn't sound like a real name, but I promise you it's a real book.
Is it canon in the Star Wars universe? Do you know?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I don't even think they know anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, they wrote off a bunch of this stuff and now call it Star Wars Legends, mainly the books. But I'm not sure. Pablo Hidalgo is like the one guy they leave in charge of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is canon or not.
I think it is.
It could. The way that they're setting up, the way that they're talking about it, nothing contradicts anything that has happened in any of the movies. So it would not surprise me if it is canon. But it's a really good read. You guys should check it out if you're into that thing.
So how old is Kenobi in this? Like, are we talking Luke is like a 2-3-year-old, or is Luke like 14, 15?
No, this is like Obi-Wan moved to Tatooine like weeks ago. Like, it is literally right where Revenge of the Sith ends.
At any point, does he go to Tachi to pick up power converters?
Yes, in chapter 2, page 15, wow. I believe.
Thing peaks early.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just like me.
Was that another sex joke?
All right, Geiger. Yeah, absolutely it was. Geiger, aside from the two things that we watched, one was a commentary, the other was that Netflix movie last night. Was there anything else that you watched? Because I have one that we don't know.
I mean, the only thing is, it was because of the Netflix movie we watched. I watched Natural Born Killers just because it reminds me so much of Bonnie and Clyde. And then
and it has Woody Harrelson.
Yes, and it has Woody Harrelson because I was like, dude, this basically Natural Born Killers. If you haven't seen it, is basically a '90s take off Bonnie and Clyde. Just a fucking insane movie that I didn't know Tarantino was a writer on it. Did not know that, actually. Oliver Stone directed, but Tarantino wrote some of it, which makes sense.
Is Tarantino in it at all? Like, even in a cameo role? I feel like he had like a really, really small, like, one-line role, but maybe I'm getting that confused with something else. Because he's in From Dusk Till Dawn, I know.
Well, yeah, he's like one of the main people in that, but no, I didn't see him in it. Downey Jr. is in it. Robert Downey Jr. Remember him in it?
God damn! How much drugs was he on? It was
on right before he like went away for a really long time in Hollywood. He's actually really great in it, but it's a great movie if you need to watch. And part of that 1994 class that has Forrest Gump, Legends of the Fall, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, Lion King, Dumb and Dumber, D2 The Mighty Ducks.
So Tarantino in '94 wrote Natural Born Killers and directed Pulp Fiction. Jesus Christ! Chill out, dude. We get it. You're talented. All right, so the one thing I watched that Matt and I did not watch together was a movie called The Perfect Score. Have any of you guys ever seen this?
Is that the one where they steal the SAT scores?
Yes.
With Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, I forgot she was in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to see them together on screen. So 2004 movie. It's on HBO Go. We'll also link it below, I guess. You guys can buy it. I really enjoyed it, actually. I think I realized as I was watching this, and I kind of already knew this, but it just drove it home. I fucking love heist movies. Like, I don't think there's a heist movie I've seen that I didn't enjoy on some level. Because you can play a heist movie straight. You can play it comedically. You can play it tongue-in-cheek. And ensemble casts are just so much fun. And seeing Chris Evans and ScarJo before they were probably their most iconic. Yeah, but before they were Cap and Black Widow was so fun. Matthew Lillard's in it. He plays Chris Evans' like fucking burnout brother who just lives in their pool house and is fucking drunk every weekend. And Geiger, Darius Miles is in this movie from the LA Clippers.
LA Clippers?
Yeah, he plays.
He was in Van Wilder too.
So the funny thing is, he plays obviously a high school basketball player who needs the SAT score because he's not going to skip college and go pro. But Darius Miles himself fucking did that.
Yeah.
At the time it was filmed.
I forgot. Yeah, he didn't go to college.
No,
he did. The head thing him and Quentin Richardson would do?
I was expecting Q Rich to just show up at some point. But yeah, he's in it, and then the Asian guy who's a stoner, he's in the Doctor in Westworld banner, along with the CarMax guy. So he's in it. He's really funny. I wrote
It's
on
on
our
Netflix?
letterbox. It's on HBO Go.
Oh, okay.
I wrote on our letterbox review that the movie will probably live or die on whether you find the stoner Asian guy funny. If you find him annoying, then you're not gonna like the movie. If you think he's hilarious, then you're gonna enjoy it. And I thought he was hilarious. So the perfect score.
Let's have a
2000
quick mini debate because Accepted is kind of the same lines, kind of the same kind of movie. Which one do you guys like better? Obviously, that's the one with Jake Long, and they essentially
Jonah
create,
Hill, Blake
yeah, Jonah
Lively.
Hill. They basically create a fake school because they can't get into college. Which one do you guys like better? Because I think Accepted is really fucking
The
funny.
South Harmon Institute of Technology. Yeah, Accepted is definitely funnier, but I think I like the score more. The
I
perfect score.
haven't seen Jeff's movie, so Accepted. Justin Long annoys me, so I'd probably go with Jeff's movie. He's got Darius Miles in it.
There
So
we
I've
go.
never seen this movie, but I don't
classic
like
Darius-
this guy. So
The classic Darius Miles versus Justin Long debate. We don't need to have that one again. Matt, I think you'd like the perfect score. It's
You
an
would
hour.
like
I think I would too. It sounds like my type of movie.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
an
quick
hour
watch.
31 minutes. Yeah, it's a quick watch. It's not stupid. It's like, and so Scarlett Johansson, her dad works in the same building as the testing company ETS where the scores are, and the only reason she works with them is because she fucking hates her dad, which is something we can totally relate to with chicks. She's like, yeah, man, that's a fucking asshole. I'll help you guys sneak in, no problem.
pretty sure Good Charlotte did the soundtrack to it too, didn't
I know. I'm looking up the soundtrack, and it's
Once
got
you
some
made the soundtrack is so fucking like late 90s, you would really dig it. It's a when I was watching it, I was like, dude, Geiger would love this movie.
God, Darius Miles is okay. I'm looking it up.
That when the plot point of Darius Miles like refusing to skip college and go pro, I was like laughing out loud, and my fiance was like, "Why? Why is that so funny?" I'm like, I can't even explain it to you, but it's fucking hilarious.
The fact that Darius Miles has just literally stopped the pod, like halted it, so Geiger can look this movie up, is absolutely hilarious to me.
That's what Darius Miles does. It's the effect he has on us. All right, Geiger, we watched two things together. Let's get through the first one. Too Fast, Too Furious. We did a movie commentary on it, which will be dropping. Honestly, I don't even want to give you a date. God knows when the fuck
Yeah,
that thing's
who knows?
coming out. Probably years from now. But Geiger and I think, found the best villain in the Fast and Furious franchise in Carter Verone. Geiger, your thoughts?
Very strong villain. Actually, it seemed like he was in a different movie because he was just acting so well. It was insane. But check out our movie commentary on it. I love the actor too. He's been in a couple
Cole
movies.
Hauser,
Yeah, my favorite movie he's in is, of course, Days of Confused, which is probably one of his first movies,
the
along
breakup.
with Affleck and McConaughey. But he did fantastic. I'm very surprised they haven't brought him back in the franchise.
Geiger and I had an issue with the hotness level of chicks at these street races, though. We feel like it was bad enough in the first one, but in the second one, it just reached a whole new level of. I don't.
That goes back. Yeah, that goes back to the first one, the first commentary we did. That'd be like at a golf course. There's not just ass walking around all the time. And at these street races, like, unless you're going to just pay prostitutes to be there, there's no way there'd be this much hot ass just walking around street races. Just no
Yeah.
fucking way. Girls don't even really know cars that well. Like, they don't even really care, I don't think.
Most of the girls that I went to high school with, if there was a street race, they'd be like, "Guys, stop it! You're fucking being stupid assholes." They wouldn't be like spray painting the start line. In my,
Were you guys hungry?
our pockets ain't empty, cuz. All right, and then the second one, we'll pretty much do our mini review of it right now. It is the Netflix original movie, The Highwaymen, that was just released, starring Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson. Matt, what were your thoughts? I think we both watched it last night, right?
Really enjoyed it. Costner and Harrelson are as advertised. Like the story, it made me really want a reboot of a Bonnie and Clyde movie, kind of like they did with Star is Born. I was thinking so many actors and actresses that could play that role. Other than that, just kind of a side thing. If I could have to bitch about one thing, which we've been on Netflix dick the whole month of March, is that I think Triple Frontier and Highwaymen ran a little long for me.
Yes.
And the
Thank you.
dirt, I wanted it more to be like a 5-episode miniseries because there's so much shit they didn't dive into, like Pamela Anderson and a bunch of stuff that Triple Frontier, I was just like, I remember pausing it, taking a piss. I'm like, damn, there's fucking an hour left of this thing.
I know.
And Highwayman 2 started to drag a little bit, but other than that, it was a fantastic movie. I just think they could have cut off about half an hour of it, and I think it would have been even better.
Yeah, you took my thoughts exactly, Eric. So here's my thing: Harrelson and Costner are worth watching it alone, but it is a bit slow at times. But I thought it was really cool to frame. It's a movie based on a manhunt of Bonnie and Clyde, but they're, I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything, but they're not, they're more just like a plot device, really, right?
Yeah,
like,
and I think they did that on purpose. Sorry, Jeff, but I think they did it on purpose, basically showing you that Bonnie and Clyde were more of figments of people's imagination who they wanted them to be, because no one really knew them, because obviously if they stopped for somewhere for more than an hour, they'd get caught. So not seeing them very much was almost kind of like the perspective of the police and the detectives, because you just see them for a split second and then they'd kill everyone and be gone. But I think the movie would be more interesting if they would have casted Bonnie and Clyde, and then you have a reason for it to be 2 hours long.
There you go. Yeah. And I'm not complaining I got too much McConaughey and Harrelson, but this movie, like Eric Savan, who is Banner, he's President Ellis in Iron Man 3 and briefly in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He plays Clyde's dad. And Geiger, I don't know about you, but that where he talks to Costner, that was one of the best scenes in the whole movie for me.
Fantastic.
But aside from Costner and Harrelson, there's really not much act. I mean, Kathy Bates is in it, but I don't think she doesn't have a scene with either one of them, right?
No, she just talks to basically their handler the whole time. I mean, she was Kathy Bates. She was great. But, her role wasn't that impactful. They just basically needed kind of a face of the government, pretty much.
Right.
But other than that, everyone that thinks these Netflix movies are great, and we're on that. I think everything I've seen on Netflix in March is great. However, if I would actually pay to see this in a theater, if I would have left, I'd be like, it was okay. I think The Dirt I'd really like, because I am a fan of Motley Crue, but it's different when you're paying for a streaming service where I'm like, I can watch Mad Men, The Office, blah, blah movie, but they're also giving me movies, so that's cool. Instead of basically taking a night out of your week, taking your wife there and spending like $30 and seeing a fucking movie, your expectations are way down on these Netflix movies, which they well should be, but I don't think they're as good as, some of the movies you actually see in theaters that you're actually excited about.
Yeah. And this movie, I mean, was one that, God, what a great fucking month for Netflix, though. Like Triple Frontier and this. I mean, if any studio put those two out in a year, they'd be like, hell yeah.
Yeah. The
movie was good. The runtime was a little long, but I like the framing device of the Bonnie and Clyde manhunt. But it's not really about them. It's just what brings these two great actors together. But yeah, probably about 20 minutes too long is what I would say.
The thing where they fucked up, Jeff, is about 45 minutes into it, I got my favorite actor probably my whole life has been Kevin Costner, and I also love Woody Harrelson. But 45 minutes into it, I'm like, can you show me more of these Bonnie and Clyde shit? Because I want to know more about them. I know about Bonnie and Clyde, but I would love to know more about them, if that makes any sense. They didn't really give you very much.
And that reminds me of two things real quick to end this that I thought of. So, Geiger, you always mention this. A good movie, especially one based on, or even loosely based on real events, is one where afterwards you want to Google, like, what the fuck actually happened. And that's what my fiance and I were doing afterwards, was looking up stories about Bonnie and Clyde and, like, what actually happened. It just makes you more interested in the topic, which this movie definitely does. So that was obviously...
Bonnie and Clyde is on Netflix, too, if you guys want to check it out.
Yeah, so that was obviously a huge plus. And then the second thing about it is, and I love this with any good manhunt movie, but how do you even, like, when Costner and Harrelson take over, how do you even fucking start? Like, where do you even begin? And that was a big part of the movie, too, which I thought was really, really cool. So I would recommend The Highwayman, but like Geiger said, a bit of a bloated runtime.
About 2 hours, 20 minutes, though, if you want to watch it.
Yeah, I took about 4 piss breaks, a couple beer breaks, and then we paused the thing at one point just to, like, mentally take a fucking breather. All right, Protein Shake is over, and that brings us to the last part of our show. Okay. All right. Yep. No, please no. Please no.
Let's cut some of that out?
Yeah, can we please cut some of that? That brings us to our question and answer segment. Do you even lift bra? I'm shocked you actually could keep one breath going for that long.
I'm a little lightheaded.
I was gonna say, if the only way that would have been better is if you passed out. Which is our question and answer segment where we dig up questions from around the internet and talk about them on our show. And we have 2 questions tonight. Our first question comes to us from Adrian at Movie Mark with a Q, and he asks, or she asks, I'm sorry, what chance do you think Joaquin Phoenix has getting Oscar consideration for his role as the Joker, and where do you think his Joker role will rank amongst others? Obviously, the trailer for the Todd Phillips directed and starring Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie came out today. So, Matt, you're the DC guy. I'll let you go first. Anything you want to say about the trailer, and then Adrian's question regarding how Joaquin Phoenix's performance as the Joker will be viewed.
So, Adrian's question, he won't get any Oscar buzz because for a couple of reasons. One, I think the Oscars is going to be absolutely fucking ruled this year by Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Pretty much everyone in that fucking movie is going to be up for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay. And the fact is, this movie's going to fucking suck, I think. And Joaquin Phoenix, dude, he is great in Walk the Line, especially as a rock fan. I love Johnny Cash. But that's all he's ever done for me. Other than that, he just grew a beard, went on Letterman, and said he's going to do a rap album. And ever since then, everyone thought he's a top 5 actor just because he's weird. Just because he's weird doesn't mean he's a great actor. This movie was, I don't know how long ago this was written, but this is what Leto should have fucking been doing from Point Break, because Leto is a better actor than Joaquin Phoenix, period. End of discussion. And I don't care what you think about him in Suicide Squad, because that's not the role that he signed up to play. He signed up to play this role, and I think he would have done better in this, and it would make more sense that he's a younger Joker since Bruce Wayne is 8 in this fucking movie. So that would make the Joker 70 when Batman's like 30. It makes no fucking sense at all. And this movie, tonally, I like that they're going back to gritty and R-rated, but it's not an origin story of the Joker. There's no Red Hood. There's no Ace Chemical. There's no none of that. He's like I don't know, he's just some guy.
He's a failed comedian, it looks like. Yeah,
failed comedian that has a fucking mental thing. The Joker never had a mental disorder until he fell in the acid bath. That's when he started going crazy. That's all I have to fucking say about this piece of shit. DC, I'm sick of answering DC questions.
Well, you're the DC guy.
But thank you for your question, though, and please subscribe to us.
Banner, how about you?
Yeah, he's not going to get any buzz, mainly because I think he's going to suck. Second part to the question was, where is he going to rank as far as Jokers? We've obviously got quite a few to rank between. It got to be bottom of the totem pole, I think.
Above what, Cesar Romero? Do we count Hamill in this as a voice actor?
I don't think we should count Leto. Yeah. Leto hasn't even had a chance to show what he can do, I don't think.
Even if you do count all of them, I still think this is going to be bad. I think that the story is going to be written a certain way. Joaquin Phoenix is going to play it a different way, and we're all going to view it as a third way. I think it's just not going to fucking work at all. I'm not excited about this movie. I don't want to see this movie. But the last story that I didn't want to see and I wasn't excited for was Solo, and I was pleasantly surprised. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think he's gonna be fucking terrible.
Well, I guess will be the lone dissenter here, and I think I'll speak for Cycly and myself. I'm excited for this movie. I'm with you, Geiger, though. The Joaquin Phoenix shtick of like he's so weird that like it's art. That is really worn thin on me. And here's my thing. I wish this wasn't a Joker movie. I wish it was just a Joaquin Phoenix movie. I would be more excited about it, because tying it into that origin and that character, which is legendary in pop culture. I mean, there's no questioning that. I think is a bigger hindrance because, like you said, the age gap, if that is young Bruce Wayne and it doesn't make any sense, which I guess that's fine. But now I feel like you're exploiting the name and the brand of Joker to try and shoehorn this Joaquin Phoenix movie in, because nothing from this said to me this is the DC's Joker in any capacity. That doesn't mean I didn't like it, but I almost feel like I'm being cheated or lied to as a consumer, and that already kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth heading into the theater.
I would have rather them not told us it was a Joker movie and that be the big twist at the end. Like, name it something, I don't know, anything else. Not tell us it's a Joker movie, and then 3/4 of the way through the movie we realize, oh shit, that's Bruce Wayne and this is a Joker movie. I would rather that than them coming out saying, hey, this is a Joker quote unquote origin story.
Yeah, the issue with me is that Joaquin Phoenix is not going to ever reprise this role, and it's fine if this doesn't connect to anything else. I'm not saying a standalone movie can't exist, but if that's the case, then really what, aside from just the marketing dollars, do we need to slap Joker on this thing for? Because it doesn't.
Joker is a gangster. It makes
Right.
no fucking sense.
It doesn't look and feel at all like the Joker or that classic DC villain, and that's excluding any connectivity to the DCEU, which I know it won't have, or any connectivity to any existing like iteration of Batman that we have or will see. This just feels like we said the word Gotham. Get it?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I think Joaquin Phoenix will do well in this role. I think it'll be a good movie, but I'm almost worried that it's going to have and I love this movie too, but a lot of people complain Iron Man 2 had, where it's like DC stuff. Get it? And now this is not. I can't view this as a good movie because it's beating me over the head with DC stuff. But great question, Adrian. And I guess we'll see how it all shakes out into the year. All right. Last question comes to us from Ryan Permasone at Ryan RPM5. And this is something I think we've talked about before on the pod, but anytime someone asks something like this, Ryan, you are automatically a friend of ours. What TV properties from the 90s should be rebooted as a movie? Should it be live action or animated? I have a fuck ton of these, so I'll say my highlights, but Banner, you go first.
So, yeah, I think we've had a similar question this in the past, and to be honest with you, I don't remember what the fuck I said, but I do remember what Geiger said, so I hope he talks about that again. I'm going to say Rugrats. Live action, but not them as kids. I know they did like a Rugrats all grown up when they're teenagers. I want a Rugrats all grown up again, where it's like their college years. And like you see Angelica just being a complete fucking whore, just sleeping around everywhere, having to call Tommy having to call Tommy because he's 18 and afraid to drink to come pick her up from some dude's house at
Tommy
like
would
3
party.
a.m.
Chucky wouldn't party though.
See, I feel the opposite. I feel like
I think
Tommy
Chuck would be a pot smoker.
Yeah, Chucky would just be stuck in his fucking dorm room talking about like the philosophy and like meaning of life.
Squeaking shoes.
And I kind of think Chucky, I know he's traditionally a redhead, but I think it'd be funny as shit if he's played by James Franco. He just plays that role like, I don't know. I think it'd be funny. I know it's a little too old, but
Well, we got another Franco waiting in the wings.
maybe.
That's a good one. I mean, at least like, okay, so Lil has obviously come out as a lesbian, right?
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Got it. That's really all I needed to know.
Phil might have OD'd.
What's her ass?
Is what?
Is Stu still married to what's her ass? Whatever the mom's name is.
Dee Dee?
Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, Stu. No, Stu's probably drank himself to death at this point, or lack of sleep.
Stu is definitely like on drugs, right?
He's still trying to make it big with the Reptar mobile.
Stu's a cokehead for sure. You have to be to work the hours he works. Geiger, how about you? Any 90s
Banner,
movie?
were you talking about my Doug movie?
Yes,
was
I
that
was. Yeah.
Okay.
I did the Doug movie though.
I can't remember which one of us did it. Anyway, I was gonna go a different one. Anyway, I was gonna do Saved by the Bell movie, and I want Zac Efron as Zach Morris, and I want The Rock as AC Slater.
The fuck?
I know, because it makes no fucking sense. Because it's like, dude, this guy's like 48, and I think I want it to be. I hate to say the Baywatch movie because the Baywatch movie had the right idea. It just wasn't fucking funny. But I wish they would do more movies kind of like that, just making fun of 90s shit and make them stupid, kind of more like Starsky and Hutch did. So I would love a Bayside movie about Saved by the Bell. I mean, I don't know who to play Screech. Some Michael Cera.
Michael
maybe?
Cera, yeah. Okay.
Cardi B can play Lisa.
Cardi B. Jesus. I don't know. I hate how much I think this cast is not that I love it, but that this would be
so fucking stupid ridiculous.
But it's an actual cast that we would see like a studio be like, hey,
Who would play the principal? What the fuck's his name?
Oh God, who's some old actor that's just fucking had it? I don't know.
I mean, Anthony Hopkins would be good as the
Who's the Trinity
Still too
killer?
old.
the Trinity Killer. What's his name?
Paul Giamatti would be a good Mr. Belding, actually.
But considering John Lithgow did Pitch Perfect 3, I think we could actually get him to come out and do this.
I know. Trying to think who could be Kelly Kapowski. Probably the girl that's playing Jasmine, maybe.
Naomi.
No,
not Naomi Watts.
The girl from Power Rangers, whatever.
Naomi something. By the way, Naomi, I've sent you a couple text messages. Not sure if you saw them. Just respond to those. So for me, I did the Doug movie previously, and I had
my
Dylan.
My bad, Horns. I thought that
was Tiger. Dylan O'Brien as Doug, and then the casting that I literally woke up in the middle of the night and wrote it down. Shia LaBeouf as Roger Klotz.
That's too fucking good. That's way too fucking good of a casting.
That's just like the casting that it's like at the end of The Dark Knight, where it's like it's not the hero we deserve, but it's the casting we need right now.
We need right now.
But we haven't done anything to fucking deserve it. Picture Roger Klotz just like he's like addicted to like fucking Adderall in college, and he's like just freaking out on Doug all the time. It would just be incredible. I can't remember who I cast as Patty Mayonnaise, but
Mr. Dig, very expensive.
Yeah, who would be who's the mayor of Bluffington's daughter? Is it BB?
It's Dee Dee. Right?
Dee Dee again?
BB, I think.
Who would play fucking BB? Maybe like Amanda Seyfried or somebody? I don't know. We can go back and...
Who's Skeeter?
Michael B. Jordan I had as
Skeeter.
He
was a fucking black guy because he's racist.
God damn it. This is
Skeeter's blue, dude. I don't know why you see it.
Again, I don't notice the color of people, so I
might
just
as well
see
just make it fucking Will Smith.
Oh shit! Good.
Let's have Will Smith in another role where he has to be blue.
Banner wins the pod for that fucking
Worked so well the first time.
But I had a lot of these right here, Ryan, because this was a really good question. But I'll just go with the last one I talked about at the beginning off pod. Give me a really gritty. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I mean, like Carmen Sandiego is like a serial killer on the run across the globe, and we have to track her down. And I really want Jessica Chastain as Carmen Sandiego, mainly because it would be equal parts. Wow, I really want to have sex with you, and also like, yeah, if you have to murder me afterwards, that's showbiz, baby. Like, it's a price I'm willing to pay. Jessica Chastain, not Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego, because that doesn't work. Obviously, it's a time travel movie. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And wherever she is, I'll go first, and just let me walk into her hotel room and we can figure this out.
I never got that show. I remember watching it as a kid. I'm like, why can't they find her? Or why do they even care after a while?
Yeah, the point was to teach kids geography, but I just wanted to fucking catch this bitch.
Yeah, check out our Kronk's New Groove commentary coming out. But she's got to make the list, right?
For cartoon characters we want to hook up with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's behind Lola Bunny, Jessica Rabbit, Nala. Like, she's not a top 3 seed,
no,
but
she's definitely a 12 that you don't want to
Nala.
face.
Nala's got to be up there, dude.
Bestiality.
I think we say on our Lion King commentary, Geiger goes, if you tell me right now you wouldn't fuck that lion, you're a liar.
Is that out yet? Not yet.
No, Lion King comes
out
for all these. A couple months.
All of these are already done, guys. It's just we haven't dropped them yet.
Yeah,
it's called
keep your eyes peeled. All right, before we leave our 70th episode, Banner, anything you want to leave the people with?
No, I just can't stop thinking about fucking a lion now.
We're ending on a high note. Geiger, dare I even throw it to you, or you think we're good?
Yeah, I can't stop thinking about fucking a lion either, so I was just thinking how it'd really work. And also kind of like, if we had a kid, it'd be half man, half lion, which that'd be a hell of an athlete, probably.
What do you do with the claws?
Oh.
All right, we have been the Bro Force Squad podcast for the Mad Scientist.
Think of 2 places to put them.
Brian Banner. Oh, God.
Check out
Jurassic Park movie commentary. For the Mad Scientist, Brian Banner, and our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. We really do appreciate it. If you could give us a follow on Twitter at Bro4Squad. Check out all of our Pixar vs. the World movie madness matchups there. Please vote. Please comment. I promise we'll read your comments on the next show. And we, of course, appreciate the support. Check out all of our reviews on letterboxd.com. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Type in Bro4 Squad 3 words, and check out everything we do on our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we will catch you later. And if you see us at an Applebee's with a lion, we're on a date. Leave us alone. That might be the greatest quote on the Jurassic Park commentary in Pro Force Squad history.
Probably, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's up there.
I mean, it stopped the commentary dead in its tracks with laughter.
Thurman started crying. Claw in the pink, one in the stink.
Was it you that said that, Geiger?
No, it's 2 in the pink, claw
That
in the
was me,
stink.
yeah.